Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel, and we're going to do this live today. It is Championship preview round number 15. I thought I'd give it a blast as a live show. It's going to go up anyway, so why not see if we can draw in some of you subscribers and give me a little bit of help on the predictions for round 15 in the Championship. Let me know if you can see me, hear me loud and clear, and do get involved in the predictions as we go. We're going to look at each and every one of the round 15 games. Another midweek round, another 12 fixtures. The grind is relentless, but that is the Championship, ladies and gentlemen. Before we go any further, we do need to say thank you to our fan sponsor for the Championship preview show. Each and every game round here is the Donovan brothers, who sponsor the show in love and memory of their late brother Michael of South East London, a lifelong Millwall fan and admirer of this show. We thank the Donovan brothers for their kind support to the channel. As ever, you can support the channel too. Down there, you can see via Super Chat, Patreon, the Teespring shop. But the easiest, quickest, and freest way to support the channel is to hit the like button if you are in the chat, which you can do so right now. Hit the subscribe button if you are on YouTube, and get involved in what we're doing. And if you are involved in what we're doing, last plug before we start, I promise you can get yourself a discount over on the merch store. Just enter the discount code LIVE at the checkout. Get a 10% discount on all Benjamin Bloom Football Channel merchandise over at the Teesprings store. A little something for you if you want to get some merchandise. Right. Let's get down to business. Let's quickly say hi to Carl. Bad injury last night for the Mexican. I think he's talking about Raul Jimenez. QPR Forever is here. Dasher Dude is here. CPE7 is here. David is here. Help me out, guys, with your predictions as we go. Here are our round 15 fixtures in the Championship. It is on Tuesday night, Cardiff versus Huddersfield. Derby versus Coventry, QPR versus Bristol City, Bournemouth versus Preston, Birmingham versus Barnsley, and our watch along on Tuesday will indeed be Rotherham versus Brentford. Join us for that one live on Tuesday night. On Wednesday, we have Middlesbrough versus Swansea, Forest versus Watford, Wycombe versus Stoke, Sheffield Wednesday versus Reading, Luton versus Norwich, and Blackburn Rovers versus Millwall. That is the week's games. We'll have a little look at every single one. As ever, we will work our way down from the top of the table, which means first up, we're going to be looking at Norwich, and they are going to be away at Luton. Get your predictions in via the comments. Norwich versus Luton. A simple look at the table would have Norwich winning this one, but it's not that simple, is it, guys? Norwich, top of the table, 2 points per game, 28 from 14. Impressive stuff from the Canaries. After a small blip, Daniel Farke went away, sorted things out, especially with reference to Buendia and Cantwell, who were unfocused, according to Farke at that point. Buendia, particularly, very important player for Norwich, has been very focused since, and therefore Norwich's results have picked up. However, they are in the midst of a bit of an injury crisis. Luton down there, still in the top half of the table after a very decent start. It's often you look at the table and you say middling form. Look, when you get symmetry in your one draw loss record, 1-5, drawn 4, lost 5 for Luton. However, no wins in the last 4 for the Hatters, and a big defeat, 4-0, bit of a surprise one, over at Cardiff in the last game for Luton. Get your predictions in for this one. Let's just have a look at the recent results. if you look down there, first of all, for leaders Norwich, it's very impressive there. Look at that. Win, 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 draw, win, draw, win, 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 draw. Very, very good run for the Canaries. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on that picture without defeat, which is superb for Norwich. They did draw against Coventry in their last game, but remember, in that game, no Krul, no Quintilla, no Rupp, no Buendia suspended. He will be back. No Pookie. He may be back. Let me know in the comments if you know anything about that. Also, no Dowell, no McLean, no Hernandez. And I think now no Max Aarons. I've always maintained what makes Norwich tick is that right-hand side of Aarons, Buendia and Pookie. So Buendia will be back. There may be Pookie. There may not be Aarons. So it's tricky. And there won't be Krul. So some key players out for Norwich. Luton, well, no wins since they went away and won at Rotherham. They have since drawn with Huddersfield, Blackburn and Birmingham. And that big defeat against Cardiff. I think this is a Wednesday night game, isn't it? On the 2nd. Yes. So it does give that Norwich injury crisis possibly an extra day to lift in this one. But I think given all those considerations, maybe Norwich might be back to winning ways at the weekend. Buendia will be back. That's obviously vital for the Canaries. I think I'm going to go for a draw in this one, being as it's such carnage there over at Norwich. I mean, they've got such a good squad. They should still be able to pull a draw out of this one. However, I think Luton are going to get a bit of a reaction. They're good playing at home, aren't they? So I'm going to go for a draw in this one. CPE says 2-1 Luton. Evans says 1-1. Carl says 1-0 Luton. QPR says Luton 2-1. Dasher says bad performance by Luton on Saturday. Jones needs to start playing players in their best position, even if he has to make hard decisions. Yeah, Ray and Pearson have been playing right back and centre back, which is not their normal positions. 1-1 says Mr. E. 2-1 Luton says Don. Rumours Sluga out. Our first choice keeper has been called back from loan. Everybody's struggling for players at the moment. I have gone for a draw. Let's move on to our next game. We slide down the table one position, which means we are talking about second placed Bournemouth, and they will be at home to Preston, who we can't say anything other than erratic this season. Preston, get your predictions in this one. AFC Bournemouth versus Preston. So Bournemouth up there in second. Look, matching Norwich over the last 4 games there, 3 wins and a draw. They're just off the 2 points per game, which the Canaries have managed to pull out. But still impressive stuff. And only the 1 defeat in 14 games for Bournemouth. At Sheffield Wednesday, wasn't it? Gary Monk still there for that victory there. Preston, 3 defeats in 4. They lost 4-1 at the weekend at Watford, which might be a barometer. It's another of the parachute cartel that Preston have got to play. Preston had been so good away from home. That form has now altered, hasn't it? And a couple of defeats at Rotherham and at Watford since. Let's have a look at the recent results for both. Bournemouth, very impressive. I mean, you're only going to find 1 defeat in the whole season, let alone the recent games. That was at Sheffield Wednesday. And then a nice win away at Birmingham. David Brooks returning then. That brilliant comeback against Reading, and then a 2-0 win over Forest. 2-2 at Rotherham. Rotherham away is never a fun place to go. They're always competitive there. Looking at Preston on the other side, just erratic. Look, lose at home to Cardiff, win at QPR, win at Huddersfield, lose at home to Millwall, lose at home to Birmingham, win at Reading 3-0 easily. lose at Rotherham, win at home to Sheffield Wednesday, lose at home to Blackburn, red card in that one, to be fair, and then a big one away at Watford. It is very tricky for me to not call this a home win for Bournemouth. I think there's some pressure mounting on Alex Neil. Jason Tyndall's got Bournemouth ticking nicely, and we start to think that the relegated team's squad strength is now going to, start to be a factor. So I'm going to go for a home win to Bournemouth. CPE says 3-0 Bournemouth, 2-1 Bournemouth, 3-1 Bournemouth, 1-0 Bournemouth. Don says 2-1 Preston, purely Preston and the Championship don't make much sense. Yeah, fair comment. I'm glad we got one of those in there. 3-0 Bournemouth, 3 worldies. They do score some nice goals, Bournemouth, some individual goals. 1-1 says Carl. 3-0 Bournemouth, Preston in trouble this season, plus with a few of their best players with 7 months of contract left on January is massive. Good point. 2-0 Bournemouth, 3-1 Bournemouth, starting to worry about Preston. Dasher says the same thing as John. For that matter, I'm going to go for a home win for Bournemouth. The pain to continue for poor old Preston, I suspect. Let's talk about the third of the parachute cartel, and they are first, second and third at the moment. But you would suggest a fairly tricky game here in a fairly tricky run. I'm trying not to contradict myself because I think it's a tricky game for Watford, but they're playing away at Nottingham Forest. And Forest are on a tricky run themselves now, having been defeated for the third time in a row at the weekend by Swansea. Tricky. So get your predictions in. Forest versus Watford. Watford in third, making up the parachute cartel in first, second and third. In the best form out of the three of them, joint, in fact, sorry, apologies to Norwich there. 11 points in 5 from 2 of those, and 10 for Bournemouth as well. So they're all in really good form up the top there. Get your predictions in. Forest versus Watford. I just always feel Forest away under Krissy and with that squad, it's never going to be an easy game. We did them as the watch-along in the last game. It was very, very tight. Swansea coming away with the 3 points in that one. Let's just have a look at Watford's form. Away from home, they don't score many goals, do they? I will say that. In fact, we bring up just the away form for Watford real quick. And you can see, look, 1-0 win, 1-1 draw, 1-0 defeat, 1-1 draw, 0-0. So I think they take a draw without getting on the bus, to use a Mick McCarthy-ism there. But I don't think it's going to be a classic, is it? Watford in very good form. 1 defeat there in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's hard to see them losing. If you look there for Forest, they've had a couple of wins in a row there under Hugh. And in his first game, he won, didn't he, late on at Blackburn with that deflected goal. Mr. E says, all I'll say is probably not many goals in this one. Get under the minus 2.5 if they'll even give it to you, for goodness sakes, on this one. 3 defeats in a row for Forest. Look, I'm going to go for a draw in this one and a low-scoring draw in this one. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Tom says 2-1 Watford, 0-0, 1-0 Watford, 1-0 Forest, 3-1 Watford, Bazzy. Goal crazy. So is Ian there. 3-1 Watford. 2-0 Watford. Worrying times for for Forest, 2-0 Watford. Forest don't look to be playing terrible, but keep losing. Fair comment. Trying to keep my bias at the door, being a Luton fan thing. Watford nick it 1-0. Good work, Dasher. Watford will have too much for Forest. Houghton not doing great. Is he 2-0 Hornets? You're fairly mixed there. I have gone for a draw in that one. Let's move on to 4th placed in the table, which is Swansea, who, as I say, we did see on the watch-along in the last game. And they might have a fairly similar task here because they've got to go up to Borough. Middlesbrough versus Swansea. Is this a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night? It is a Wednesday night game. So, yes, they get a rest having played on Sunday. I mean, same as everybody else, really. Get your predictions in. Borough versus Swansea on Wednesday night. As I say, Swansea, good performance, but tight win. They know how to defend. And may I just say now, we have the two best defences if you perceive goals against as telling you what the best defence is in the division. Swansea only 8 conceded in 14. Borough 9 conceded in 14. That's 17 in 28 games for those two combined. That's miserly from Warnock and Cooper there. Get your predictions in. Swansea versus Borough. However, bit of a outlier, aberration. Borough conceded 3 goals in one game at the weekend. They lost 3-2 at Huddersfield. It's been very good. Other than that, just that 1-0 defeat at home to Norwich, which could have gone very differently if Tavernier did not slip over when he was taking the penalty. Swansea are in excellent form, aren't they? Look, if you take just the last 6, 4 wins, the last 7, 4 wins, 2 draws, and a defeat. So that's 14 points in 7, which is 2 points per game across 7, which is nice. Swansea, John points out, clash of styles here. Warnock to drive Cooper mad and 0-0. They play in a different way. I will give them that. Middlesbrough will try and get the ball into the final third. They'll just do it in fewer passes than Swansea will, who progress things nicely down the sides and create overloads. They do lack in terms of having a striker, Swansea. They did have the excellent Brewster on loan, but players like him are hard to come by in the Championship. I think I might sit on a low-scoring draw in this one as well, which means, God, I've predicted 3 draws in the first 4 games. I'm going to go for another draw, or Swansea might nick this one 1-0. I'll go for a draw. On the fence, Ben, not like you. Yeah, tell me about it, hey? Let's have a look at your predictions. All I will say is not many goals in this one. Sadly, as a Bristol City fan, I see Swansea going up. 1-0 Swans, 0-0, 1-1. Swansea masters of the 1-0, but not this time. 0-0. There you go. 1-1 draw. Bazzy's confident, isn't he? 4-2. Get a bet on that if they'll give you over 2.5 goals. 2-0 Borough, says Dasher, and Alex agrees. A narrow Borough win there. I'll go for a draw again. I'll get off the fence for the next one. I promise. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Reading. And Reading will be playing on the 2nd. So they're playing Wednesday as well. Away at Sheffield Wednesday. God. Why do I feel being lulled into another draw prediction here? Sheffield Wednesday under Pulis versus Reading. Get your predictions in via the comments. And again, yeah, you could really go for a draw in this one, couldn't you? So Reading in 5th, stabilising nicely after the 4 defeats. They've got 4 points from the last 2 games. Nice win over Bristol City and a draw at Millwall in the last 2. Get your predictions in the comments. Sheffield Wednesday, Pulis takes over, and it is a defeat with a red card in, to be fair, and 2 draws in a row. Remember, Reading are nice and happy to sit back and strike. Pulis will just have them very happy to cede the ball and sit back. So I wonder whether we might get 2 potentially passive teams. You might say Reading with a little bit more quality up the pitch now, and they did field as a 4-2-3-1. The front 4 was Zhao, Maite, Elise and Ajari, which I like very much in terms of Reading. As you can see, the 4 straight defeats, which we knew all about. Ajari wasn't around, Moore wasn't around in those games, losing at Coventry, home to Preston, Stoke, and then at Bournemouth, having been 2-0 up in that one. Pulis arrives there 3 games ago. It had been a straight 4 defeats as well, and then 4 points from 2 to reply to that one. Being I'm sat on the fence so much, let's go for a Reading away win in this one. Maybe Pulis will sit back a little bit too much, and maybe that quality up front, particularly Maite and Lucas Zhao, who's having an excellent season, might just nick it for them. And I haven't gone for an away win yet. So I'll go for an away win there. Hey, you guys try predicting the Championship. With that being said, let's look at your predictions here. 0-0, never any goals at Hillsborough. 3-0 Reading. Reading narrow, 1-0, could easily be 0. Banker 0-0. Reading 2-0. Reading 1-0. With most of the big guns back, Reading should have too much. 2-1 Reading. 1-0 Reading. Another tight game. I think the Royals might nick it by 1. 3-3 says Carl. That there must be a red card in there to get a 3-3, mustn't it? So look, I'll go for an away win in this one, which Mr. Pulis will not be happy with, but I'm sure he doesn't care what I think, and I'm sure he'll be confident of getting a result. In 6th place, we go next to Bristol City, who are going to be playing QPR. Get your predictions in. QPR versus Bristol City. That is tomorrow night on the Tuesday. Bristol City coming a cropper at Reading in the early kickoff on Sky on Saturday. You can see there, after a 3-game win streak, a draw and a defeat in the last 2 just drops them into 6th place, but still in the playoff positions. Get your predictions in. QPR versus Barnsley, Bristol City. We did QPR on the watch along, and they were unlucky against Brentford. A yellow card decision that could have been quite easily a red card, maybe going against them. Brentford pushing on and getting the victory there. Bright Samuel looked very dangerous. Lyndon Dykes got his first goal from open play, but they are open as ever, aren't they, QPR, to score against. So expect some goals in this one. Naki Wells will likely be returning to QPR, although he's been on the bench the last 2 games. Dean Holden starting with Semenyo and Diédhiou, who may just be a little bit better defensively than Martin and Wells. But we'll see who appears for Bristol City. Again, a tricky one to call here. QPR had been in good form with 10 points from 5 games, and I think looked all right against Brentford in that game. On another day, they get points from that, which bodes well, playing away against Brentford for a game against Bristol City. I feel Bristol City have learned to be a bit more defensive recently in a couple of those wins, and in the 0-0 draw against Watford, haven't they? Let's have a look and see what you guys are saying here. Gaza says 1-1. Alfie 2-2. 2-1 Rangers, says Bazzi. QPR got goals, but are the worst defensive team in the whole of the EFL. Are they actually? Goodness me. QPR 3-0. Awful form, says Josh, who is a Bristol City fan. Can't see us responding at the key-in. QPR going well after a dodgy spell. Draw 1-1. Both sides won't want to lose 2 on the trot. Possibly the hardest team to predict, which one either of them, eh? Got a fancy City to nick it 2-1. 2-0 Bristol City. 3-1 QPR, 1-0 QPR, QPR win, 3-2 Bristol City, 2-1 QPR, 3-1 QPR, 2-2. I'm going to go for QPR just on the basis that I've done watch-alongs of both teams recently, and QPR I felt were unlucky against Brentford, and Bristol City, it was tight. I mean, with Semenyo's work in the second half against Watford, could have edged it. Look, it's a difficult one to call. I just don't want to be predicting any more draws. So I'll go for a QPR home win in this one. If Bright Samuel plays well, they've got every chance. If they could actually get Samuel and Chair to play well in the same game, they'd be a very dangerous looking side. Let's talk about Brentford, who are a dangerous looking side. And it will be Rotherham versus Brentford. Get your predictions in for this one. And that's going to be our watch-along on Tuesday night. It's an 8 p.m. kickoff. Join me at 7:45 for Rotherham versus Brentford. Get your predictions in for that one. Rotherham, always competitive at home. And Brentford just starting to rise up the table. I haven't clicked yet, have they, if we're using last season as the barometer. But look at the last 5 games, unbeaten and 9 points from 5 is decent. Can they get a third straight win. Brentford, let's have a look. Sorry, just to mention Rotherham there. I keep saying in the bottom 6, there are 3 big clubs, Derby, Sheffield Wednesday and Forest, alongside the 3 promoted League One clubs last season. Something's got to give down there, hasn't it? We'll see what it is during the season. There is the recent form. Very decent for Brentford in terms of not losing. Only losing away at Stoke, where everything went wrong for them at the end of last season, didn't it? Away at Stoke, they could have gone into the top 2 with 2 to play, or even 1 to play. I think I don't quite remember. But look there. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There have been 5 wins, 4 draws, and just the 1 defeat in the last 10 for Brentford. Looking good. Rotherham, shaky against QPR and losing. Difficult away game at Swansea. They lost, but impressive in drawing 2-2 against Bournemouth. Should be a good clash of styles. Rotherham can get the ball wide and into the box to Ladapo and maybe Smith. I think both of them played at the weekend. Brentford will play through the thirds, and Tony has been in excellent form now. Fosu, part of that front 3. Let's have a look at your predictions for this one. 2-1 Brentford, says Alfie. 0-0. Rotherham 1, Ivan Tony 2. It's been that way this season, hasn't it? 2-2, 1-1 draw. 3-2 Rotherham, 2-1 Rotherham. Rotherham 2-1. Interesting. I should have had at least 1 against Brentford, says QPR forever. 2-0 Rotherham, 2-1 Brentford in the 96th minute. 4-0 Brentford, 2-1 Bees. 3-0 Brentford, Brentford 2-1. But Frank to moan like hell about how Rotherham play afterwards. If we nullify Tony like we did Brooks, we have a chance here. Interesting point. QPR forever says, hoping Rotherham win, but being realistic, Brentford win. Bias at the door. Really looking forward to this one. Rotherham always give everyone a game. I will predict a Brentford away win in this one, but looking forward to watching it. Come and join me on Tuesday night for that one. Rotherham don't respect anybody, do they? They'll give anybody a game in this division, especially at the New York. So my prediction is by no means confident. Hey, none of my predictions are confident, but there you go. Join me on Tuesday night for that one. Very much looking forward to our midweek watch-along game there. Right. This is a fun one. It is going to be Wycombe versus Stoke, also on Wednesday night. Give me your predictions. Wycombe versus Stoke. Wycombe have improved big style recently, haven't they? After, well, couldn't have been much worse losing the first 7 on the trot, wasn't it? But then 10 points in the 7 games since is really very, very nice form for the Chair boys. Tricky one here against Stoke, who they're like Rotherham with a far bigger budget, aren't they? They'll give everyone a game. They're competitive, quite pragmatic, but got some very good players, especially Tyrese Campbell, James McLean, Sam Clucas. Very good first 11. Stoke particularly, haven't they? However, they haven't won in the last 2 games, and they are having to go away to Wycombe Wanderers. Let's have a look at the last few for each. It's been 3 draws in a row for Wycombe, and it's very strange. They lost their first 7, but, and I'm going to include the Norwich game because they only lost in the last, in injury time in that one. Look, they've played Norwich, Watford, Brentford in those games, and got points in 3 of them. So it doesn't matter the opponent really. They've only lost to Forest in that run, and that was just going into the international break, wasn't it? Back-to-back wins in the middle there. However, no wins in 4. From a Stoke point of view, spotty, and now 2 without a win. Look, win-draw, win-loss, win-loss, win-win, loss-draw. They are going to want to win this one. I think that they are going to do it. Apologies to Wycombe fans, because Wycombe have been excellent the last 7, but I'll just go for a Stoke win in this one. Let's see what you guys are saying about Wycombe versus Stoke. Akinfenway 1, Stoke 0. I can see a theme in your predictions here, Josh. 4-1 Stoke, 2-2, 1-1, 2-0 Stoke, 2-0 Stoke, 2-1 Wycombe, 1-0 Stoke, 0-0, 1-0 Stoke, 2-2, Wycombe 0, Tyrese Campbell 2, Stoke 2-0. Wycombe a very much poorer version of Stoke in style of play, 0-0. Good game for goals, 1-1 Stoke, 2-0 Stoke. I think that might be the hottest favourite we've had so far, apart from maybe Bournemouth at home to Preston in terms of your predictions. I've also gone for Stoke. Let's talk about Blackburn, who are improving nicely, aren't they? I was a bit sceptical about Blackburn a few games ago, but I'm getting less sceptical, and they are improving. It is Blackburn at home to Millwall, who are always tricky to play against, especially under Gary Rowett. There is how the table looks. Bit of a difference in the form. A slate of draws there for Millwall. 5 draws in the last 5 games for the Lions. Only 2 defeats, though. Blackburn, look at their goals for, 27, and they do feature the top scorer in the entire division, Mr. Adam Armstrong, along with Harvey Elliott, Ben Brereton, Sam Gallagher, Tyree Stolen. Some good attacking options in that one. Millwall have been the exact opposite, haven't they? Rowett's tried everything. Troy Parrott is now fit and in the team. I wonder in the end whether he wants a bit of pace up there, whether it's going to be Wallace and Bennett and Parrott in the end, but there's still Bodvarsson. I think Bodvarsson got hurt in the last game. There's still Bradshaw and Smith up there as well. So he's trying to find something to click. Blackburn 11 points in the last 5, which makes them joint best in the league across those 5 games. Let's have a look at them. My criticism of Blackburn was, who have they beaten? Well, now they're turning the screw a little bit. Look, they're now beaten QPR. Yes, a red card and a win against Preston to couple with their wins against red cards, 10 men against Coventry and against Wycombe. Arguably could have won those games either way, but I still need to see the sustainable evidence here. And a good win at home against Barnsley, who are, well, similarly ranked at the moment to how Millwall have been, even though the Lions did finish up in 8th last season. Look at that, 5 straight draws for Millwall, so 6 without a win after that really good away win at Preston, and things looking very promising. It had been 10 points in 4 games at that point. However, look at the goals drying up. 0 against Huddersfield, against Norwich, against Sheffield Wednesday, and against Birmingham at the weekend. So only 2 goals in the last 6 games for Millwall, which is very, very poor attacking wise. Difficult one to call this. If Millwall lose, they're 6 without a win and 5 points in 6 games, which is not good form. And sorry, Lions fans, because I know we have a lot of you here. I think you've got a team that aren't scoring at the moment and drawing lots of games against a team that's free scoring and have just started winning. So I'm going to go for Blackburn in this one. Let's have a look and see your comments here. 1-0 Rovers, says Alfie. 2-1. Josh is giving me goal scorers again. 3-0 Blackburn. 1-0 Blackburn. 3-0 Blackburn. 2-0 Blackburn. A 6th draw, says Gaza. Hopefully we score a goal. Blackburn can score a lot of goals. We'll be interested to see top scorers. They are the top scorers. 1-1. Blackburn 2-0. 2-0 Blackburn. 4-2. Blackburn 0-0. Millwall won't allow Armstrong any space. That could be a good prophecy, John. 2-0 Rovers. 1-1 Millwall. Blackburn win easy. David says, with our injuries, I'd take a point now. I predict 0-0 would be happy with that. Millwall, like us, leak goals. 7-0 Rovers. Okay. I think we're there. Lewis says, Rowett is very draw heavy, was the same for us. Always priority not to lose. Cool. Let's move on to the next one. I've gone for a home win for Blackburn indeed. Right. Now, this is the point where I have to not miss anybody out. We've done Borough, we've done Millwall, we've done Luton. So we are moving on to Cardiff versus Huddersfield, which will be tomorrow night. Get your predictions in. Cardiff versus Huddersfield. That is in South Wales, so it's a home game for Cardiff. And look at that, difficult one to call. It's 13th versus 14th. Bit of a clash of styles in this one, I suspect. Cardiff have been underachieving, I think, but won 4-0 against Luton at the weekend. So maybe something clicks there. Mark Harris into the team and scoring. Wilson and Ojo, I think, on the wings. I'll double check that one. Ojo on the score sheet as well. Kiefer Moore on the score sheet. Sean Morrison from a set play. Tick off all the Cardiff cliches there. They all happened in the one game, didn't they? Huddersfield got a win against Borough, but bit of a strange game, that one, because Borough got in front and then a couple of quick goals, and then Borough scored a penalty, and then Huddersfield scored again straight away. Good attack inside. Huddersfield scored some lovely goals this season. And as I say, a clash of styles. Will they be able to cope with some of the Cardiff attacking tactics, particularly big Kiefer Moore and Sean Morrison from set plays? Now with dribblers like Wilson in there alongside Hoylett and runners like Ojo. It had been the first win in 6 for Huddersfield, and the first win in 4 for Cardiff. Neither side particularly prolific in terms of wins. Difficult one to call. I'm not sure Huddersfield will be able to cope with some of the Cardiff attacking plays. Anyway, let me see what you guys say in this one, and then I'll plead the fifth until I've heard what you guys are going to say. 2-0 versus 2-0 Huddersfield, says Carl. 2-1 Cardiff. 3-3, 2-1 Huddersfield, 1-0 Cardiff. We're mixed on this one. 2-2, 2-1 Cardiff. Cardiff win. More Harris for Harris. Could anything, but fancy, could be anything, but fancy Huddersfield to next one. 2-1. 2-1 Huddersfield. 2-0 Cardiff. 3-2 Cardiff. 1-1. 1-1 Cardiff. 2-0. Still not convinced with Cardiff. Being a Luton fan, worst we've played all season. We'll probably struggle with set plays. 1-1. Yeah, I'm going to go with this comment here. We'll probably struggle with set plays. 3 of those goals against Luton were from set plays, weren't they? I'm going to go for a home win in this one. I'm not too worried about Huddersfield. I think they're going to have a reasonably productive season somewhere in the middle of the table. I think Cardiff are going to huff and puff, and in the end, probably not quite be there or thereabouts. But I do think that they are going to win this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have got 2 to go, and we are going next to Birmingham City versus Barnsley. That is on Tuesday night, and it's another tight one. We just had 13th versus 14th. We've now got 16th versus 17th. So it is, where was the game? It's Birmingham versus Barnsley. I'm all over the show. There we go. Trying to do this live. Birmingham versus Barnsley. I say that for the 15th time. Get your predictions in for this one. I remember only too well when Ipswich were promoted in the playoff final in the year 2000. This was the other playoff semi-final, which Barnsley won quite handsomely in the first leg, if I remember correctly. So Barnsley in 16th had a really nice run. I think 4 wins in 5 under Ismail, but now 2 back-to-back defeats and obviously 3 defeats in 5. Looking at that, Birmingham, draw. Very pragmatic, very tight and tricky to play against, drawing against Rowett's Millwall at the weekend in the year of the grind. All of these managers who love a draw in the division this season. Barnsley do have a little bit more about them in terms of attacking, with Chaplin and Freeser and Woodrow and Mowat joining in. Mowat, I don't know why I said it like that. And very stable with their back 3 and the double pivot and the wing backs as well. Birmingham are still trying to find their way. On paper, the team actually, it's got some good, when sort of Clark Salter's in there with San Jose and Dino Roberts and Pedersen in there. Sanchez, I like. Lecco played in the last game. Jukovic and Hogan, some decent championship operators in there. Karanka's just trying to fashion a team that isn't just completely defensive at the moment. And there's a little bit of a sense that they're getting the defensive part right, but sacrificing some attacking momentum, let's just say, in this one. Let's have a look at some of your predictions here. 16th versus 17th. 1-1 says Nat. 1-0 Barnsley. 2-0 Barnsley. 2-0 Barnsley again there. 2-0 Barnsley. Deary me. You have to back Corley Ridrow. 2-1 Barnsley. 1-0 Barnsley. 1-1 says Evan. Tough call. 2-0 Birmingham. Draw. Oh, Halilovic. He'd likely be on the bench. Hogan needs to start, but Uke will. Hence why the draw. 1-1 written all over it. Feels like a 1-0. Either way, first goal is crucial in this one, says Lewis. I don't think Ismail can outpower the Karanka, so I'm going to go for another draw in this one. Back to my draws like I was at the start of the show. I think Barnsley will try and move the ball and progress it, but immovable object in Birmingham, and I think it will be a draw in the end. Finally, that leads us to another key game down at the bottom, and it is Derby County versus Coventry. Derby having the unhelpful draw at home to Wycombe over the weekend. Get your predictions in for Derby versus Coventry, two teams that we must have seen play each other in the Premier League. I don't know how many years ago since Coventry slid, probably early in the century, but they've both been up there, haven't they? Derby obviously having a dreadful season. McLaren is technical director. Rooney is now not playing and taking this opportunity seriously as possible manager with Rossinia. The betting's all over the place for the next job. I've seen about 8 different people favourites as the bookies just make more and more money out of this. Coventry, on the other hand, came up from League One. They are trending upwards as a club. Had a difficult run of games, but as I pointed out on my will your team be higher or lower by Christmas, the fixtures even out a bit for Coventry, and they've got 5 points in the last 3. I think if this game was not at home, I know Derby's only win has been an away game this season, but I think it helps them not having to travel for this one, if you still believe in such things in the COVID era. There is the recent form for Derby, which is obviously horrible. And the longer this goes, the more realistic the chance of a big club like Derby being actually relegated may occur. In the last game against Wycombe, there did seem a sense that Derby put in experienced players and they put in strong players rather than new signings or young players. And I think they're just going to try and make the team a bit stiffer to begin with. And then you might add back in a Sibley or a Buchanan or a Knight or a Joshviak or a Bielik even. All very good players, but obviously whatever Derby have tried this season hasn't worked, basically, has it? So in terms of Cov, like I said, a win there against Reading, a win against Cardiff, decent draw against Norwich at the weekend. Remember, Norwich, massive injury. Wasn't really playing the Norwich first team as such, was it? Difficult one to call here. Again, a draw would be massively unhelpful for everybody concerned here. Let's have a look and see what you guys are thinking on this one. Martin says, Kazim Richards looked a great number 9, a real vocal leader out there. Hopefully fitness isn't a problem. 2-1 Derby. Coventry 3-0. 0-0. Coventry 2-1. Coventry 2-1. Unhelpful draw. 1-0 Cov. 2-1 Cov. 2-1 Derby. Alan says draw. Lewis says some good news at Derby. Takeover done in a day or two. Kazim Richards gets some more praise there. 3-0 Cov, 1-1, unhelpful draw. 2-0 Cov, 2-0 Derby. Lewis adds a flurry of managers set to be interviewed over the next few days. That'll be interesting. 2-0 Derby. Derby in big trouble. 2-0 Coventry. Look, let's pull one out of the air. Being no one's really expecting Derby to win, although there are a few. I'm going to go for a Derby victory. Why not? I haven't had one that seems to be against the odds here. It's starting to get worrying, though, at Derby. They need desperately to get this managerial appointment right. If they get it wrong and they're chasing their tail, and maybe that manager then gets fired somewhere further down the line, that's the type of chaos that allows big clubs like Derby, because there's been as big or bigger clubs than Derby have been relegated before. I'm thinking Leeds and Sheffield Wednesday, Sunderland, all of the names that we always reel off. So I'm going to go for a home win. Ian says, can't watch the Millers on Tuesday as it's on Sky and I refuse to contribute to the gravy. Oh, come on, Ian. I'll pay for it. Send me a DM. I'll pay for you to watch it. You can't be missing your Rotherham, Ian. Ben, you need to be at Pride Park so we can win. Have I got a good record at Pride Park? I don't recall. I possibly have. People take notice of these things when it's, especially Leeds fans, whenever I was watching them and they were losing last season. Right, guys, that's been an absolute pleasure. I am going to trial doing these middle of the day shows live, and we've had a good bit of interaction here. I mean, they're going to go up anyway, and it's more fun for me to do them as predictions. So I'm going to keep them at 1 p.m. So with that being said, the schedule this week will now be, I'm doing Dearly Departed tonight, West Ham Villa. Join me at 7:45 for that, just after the FA Cup draw, hopefully. I will do the Dearly Departed review then this slot tomorrow, 1 p.m. I'll be here for Rotherham, Brentford tomorrow night. That'll be live, 7:45. Then I'll do the review of the Tuesday night games in this slot. So it'll either be 1 p.m. or pretty much 7:30, 7:45, whenever the games are kicking off. I'm going to take the night off on Wednesday, so we'll have the Fantasy League show come out at 7. And then it'll be the same thing on Thursday, where we'll have the review, and we'll do this preview show then in the evening. So all good, and enjoying doing the lunchtime stuff. That brings us up all the way to the weekend, where we'll have the Dearly Departed preview. And then it's Barnsley, Bournemouth. Don't get caught out by that one. 5:30 kickoff. We'll be doing the watch along for that. I will be doing that. And then it'll be the super stream on Saturday at 3 p.m. There will be no early watch along because I'll be doing Chelsea versus Leeds for Dearly Departed that night. We're figuring the channel as we go. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Brilliant stuff. Thank you for your help with the predictions. Quick summary. I have gone for Luton, Norwich, draw. Bournemouth, Preston, home. Forest, Watford, draw. Borough, Swansea, draw. Sheffield Wednesday, Reading, away. QPR, Bristol City, home. Rotherham, Brentford, away. Wycombe, Stoke, away. Blackburn, Millwall, home. Cardiff, Huddersfield, home. Birmingham, Barnsley, draw. Derby, Coventry, home. All good fun. I know some of you hold my feet to the fire on my predictions and remember them. And remind me of them. So please do that if you want to, but it's all a bit of fun. Remember, if you're watching after the fact, the best comment is your own predictions. Down there, you can support via Super Chat right now. If you want, subscribe over on Patreon. And here's your discount code if you're a watch-along bod here. For the Teesprings store, just enter live, the word live, type that in at the checkout, get 10% off all Benjamin Bloom channel merchandise there, T-shirts, mugs, iPhone cases or Android cases, hoodies, sweatshirts. There's your Teespring code. Type live in if you've watched this broadcast. You will know that. And if you've watched this broadcast, you'll know we're sponsored by the Donovan brothers. A good bunch. I had a lovely Zoom call with them before the season in loving memory of Michael of South East London, a lifelong Millwall fan, admirer of this show. We thank the Donovan brothers for their sponsorship. You too can get involved in that sort of stuff via my email there or over at Patreon. With all of that being said, that has been the Championship preview show. Thick and fast, these rounds come. We're keeping up just about for round 15. Games happening tomorrow night and Wednesday night, reviews on Wednesday and Thursday morning. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Keep in touch with me via Twitter or Instagram. Just give me a follow over there and hit the subscribe button on YouTube if you have not already. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And from me, it is over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.